It's amazing what can happen in a week. Karla Sofia Gascón is nominated for Best Actress for Emilia Perez in these Oscars. She's not really a front runner, kind of a honor to be nominated situation, but within the the last week from when we reported these, she has had this epic crash out, unbelievably like torched her Oscar campaign to the point of like she may have ruined it for the entire movie, the entire cast. They're talking Zoe Saldana's Oscar might be in danger. And what happened is a bunch of old tweets from about 4 or 5 years ago, not super old, surfaced after Gascon had made some kind of derogatory remarks about Fernanda Torres, who's another Oscar nominee from Brazil. And the Brazilians were not having it, and they went on the hunt and they combed through a bunch of her old tweets, and a bunch of stuff came to light that's was really bad, like incredibly racist, incredibly like Islamophobic. I mean, it's the things that I'm not going to repeat. Like they were that bad, and it wasn't like one kind of problematic tweet. It was like 10. Like they just kept coming. It was like a stream of consciousness from a number of different awards. She had made comments on the Oscars from 2019 and 2020 and some other periods, and there wasn't really any. She tried to spin it and say, oh well, these are taken out of context, or one of them she claimed was doctored and she didn't write, but it's like, girl, we can see the tweets, like they have your name on
Yeah,
them.
yeah, dude, you're
There's no.
verified. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
So that came to light, and then it started, the damage control happened where she was like, oh, that's taken out of context, that's not me, I'm not that person. And it just got worse. She then, on her own, without anyone's approval, she went on CNN and Espanol and did an hour-long interview, like defending herself. And she kind of gave an apology, but not really. She said something like, I'm sorry for people that were hurt, but that's not me, and like the light will always triumph over darkness. She never apologized for what she actually said. It's only gotten worse over the weekend, and at this point, they're talking about that, like I said, Zoe Saldana's Oscar might be in trouble. That entire movie's, all their nominations, because that movie's about acceptance and tolerance, and now you have your main character being the exact opposite of that. So it's real bad. And at this point, Netflix they've taken her off the campaign posters for the Oscars stuff. They are not in contact with her anymore. They're not paying for her travel and like hair and makeup to go to the campaign events. So it's real bad.
Yeah, you told me just before we got recording that Netflix has like cut her off at the legs and is not providing any travel or anything. Like crazy for an Oscar campaign. Like I don't know, dude. Like it's weird because on the one hand, Hollywood has forgiven a lot more than bad posts. For sure, dude. Like there are plenty of people in Hollywood, production, on camera, off camera, who have done awful things and said awful things and years later have a revival campaign and come back and do new things, right? Robert Downey Jr. is one of these examples. James Gunn is kind of one of these examples. So, like, I have no doubt that Karla Sofia Gascon will continue working after this, for sure. But she is so uniquely positioned with the Oscars right now, which is the biggest celebration in film, and now is getting all of this heat. Like, all of this is just coming in, and it is kind of this horrible amalgamation of, like, dude, chaos. Like they got LA wildfires out there. They don't know if they're going to delay the show or not. And then like surprise, this huge pick for best actress is got some sordid history and is going on CNN and voicing their opinion about it. It's like, oh boy, what a meltdown. What a mess.
Yeah, it's nuts, and it's not even. One of the big questions is like, how did Netflix not vet this movie? Like they bought it at Cannes, I think, and how did they not go through the stars? Because they have been heavily campaigning for this for awards season. It's one of a lot things, and now a quick Twitter search pulls up all these disastrous tweets, and like the damage control has been really terrible, like not really apologizing for doing this hour-long interview where she's really defensive. She did the famous, well, I have a black friend that therefore I'm not racist, which referring to Zoe Saldana. And I was just like, man, you can't win. It's so bad. And like I said, that the entire movie might be completely toxic now.
Yeah, that's the other part of this. Before I move on to Ari Aster's next film here on the next story, I got to know like what is happening to the larger Emilia Perez campaign because of this? Because 13 noms are a lot, but only one of them is specifically tied to Karla Sofia Gascón, right? Do you think the whole movie's tanked? Do you think it's going to get like a couple of odd ones? Like what? I think it's probably still going to get some picks for sure with that many noms, but I do think her campaign is probably toast.
Yeah, I mean, she was never a front runner, like I said, but like I also said, Zoe Saldana was a lock for the best supporting actress, and now it seems like that. Because again, how do you put this movie on a pedestal when your star has said a bunch of really super racist things? It's a real conundrum. I think it might still get some below the line awards, things like the technical things, editing, sound, something like that. They might still, international features, so they might still reward it with something. But some of the major awards may just be out the window now.
Yeah, that's such a
Like
weird story.
Ariana Grande is kind of in second place to win the supporting actress. She might get it now. Like she really might swoop in there. I listened to an hour and a half long interview with her today actually, and she's incredible on that. And so she might be the one now.
Yeah, dude. She is great in that movie. Keep it here on Off Script for more, man. We'll cover this again next week if there's any developments. Otherwise, Oscars are coming. We'll be covering them here on the show. So stay tuned. Next story this week. Ari Aster's new film Eddington, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone, heads to EFM as A24 Eyes Can debut in a summer release. It's a story out of Variety. They had the exclusive up until now when we're just reporting on their story. It's like... you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. When Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
A24 has got Eddington coming down the road. This is Ari Aster's new feature after Beau is Afraid. What do you know about this movie, Andy?
Well, we don't have a lot of details, but it's got a big cast, or a major cast rather. We have Joaquin Phoenix, Emma Stone, Pedro Pascal, and Austin Butler all star in this. All we know plot wise is that this family or group of friends all are living in a small New Mexico town called Eddington, which they can't kind of leave, and there's something kind of sinister going on, and that's all the details. We don't have a lot, but we do have some things that we can read into this. In that it's going to premiere at Cannes, which is probably the biggest indie festival. Happens in May. A24 is distributing and did the financing. They're aiming for a summer release, and so this might be an all-timer just based on this cast alone. And Ari Aster, who I love his first two movies, didn't love Beau is Afraid, but can still respected the what that movie was. And yeah, because Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone are some of the top. They are two of the top actors working today. Pedro Pascal and Austin Butler, obviously major stars themselves. So I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Eddington as well. Ari Aster's two first features, Hereditary and Midsommar, big hits here on the show. We covered both of them when they came out. Hereditary was a huge surprise for Dr. Draper and I. That was a big deal when that came out. We were both stunned in our seats in the movie theater. Like we had no idea that was going to be as cool as it was. Huge kickoff. Beau is Afraid, third film, a little weird. And while I liked it at the time, and I still generally do, I've never once gotten all the way through it in one sitting since seeing it in the theater. Every time I've tried to watch it at home, I fall asleep. I got something to do. I don't have the time. Like it is a bit big. And Aster acknowledged that in a lot of the press for it. He knew it was going to be weird. He knew people weren't going to love it, similar to Damien Chazelle in Babylon, right? I think this is going to be a bit more straight and narrow. This should probably get back more in line with like what mainstream audiences will like more, because he seemed to really acknowledge following Beau is Afraid's release that like he probably didn't get in another movie like this again. He needs to get back into back into a lane that studios like. So I'm sure Eddington is something they're looking forward to. Big star power behind it. Why not, dude? It's probably going to be a banger. Anything else on this one before we move on to the box office, Andy?
I'm ready for the box office.
Dogman is barking loudly. God, I love these headlines. And a near record January opening for an animated film, and Companion also impresses. Turns out DreamWorks Animation's got another one under their hat. Hi, Andy. What do you know about Dogman?
Dogman won the weekend with 40 million. Huge for, again, an animated film, family friendly. Those family audiences can really rake it in. I don't know much about this property. I have heard Dogman is half man, half dog, as the title says. It's based on a animated property, and that's also like a book series or like comic series that is extremely successful, millions of copies sold, that sort of thing. So this is doing really well. And Companion also raked in about $10 million. Good for the kind of small movie that it is. The box office is up about 20% over last year, which is huge, even over 2019, which is kind of the benchmark for revenue. And so it's a good weekend for the box office.
Yeah, Companion's a great example of a kind of low budget feature, not making a ton of money, but easily making its money back opening weekend. They used to make a lot of movies like this. There was a time when like the low budget, mid budget was the way to go. So it's actually really refreshing to see something come out and do pretty good. Dogman is based on a Dave Pilkey book series, similar Captain Underpants. He does those books, made that movie. So yeah, seems like a layup for all the kids. There's not a lot in its way right now, right? I think kids are kind of done seeing Mufasa. Sonic 3 is come and gone. Why not? Not a bad weekend at the movies. And I do think Companion's a lot of fun, for sure, especially coming into, Valentine's. Getting together with the ones you love. That's what it's all about. With that, we should probably jump into it. So Andy's going to be taking the summary on this one. I'll get out of his way. Andy, please take it away.
Companion